He spent many agonizing days in the hospital, desperately trying to recover, fighting hard to survive, but in the end he said goodbye. Today our hearts go out to Messi. The entire football world is mourning Jorge's passing. This follows a deeply painful official medical report from the Centro Clinic in Rosario, which confirmed his passing. A heavy silence fell over the city of Rosario, while shockwaves from the news rippled across the globe. Back home in Argentina, deep grief slowly turned into tribute. The Argentine Football Association ordered a series of tributes across every single division. Meanwhile, Newell's Old Boys was the very first to react, lowering their official flag to half-staff, joining in a quiet, eternal embrace with club history. From every corner of the nation, clubs and supporters sent their deepest condolences with the utmost respect. The loss of Jorge Messi quickly crossed international borders, forcing the global sports press to pause their frantic news cycles just to honor his memory. Major sports papers and mainstream outlets featured him on front pages, remembering him not simply as a father, but as the quiet force, the rock-solid pillar, and the absolute architect who carefully guided Messi's legendary career. Barcelona released a deeply moving official statement, expressing gratitude for his dedication and historic relationship with the institution. Take a look at this incredibly powerful and emotional minute of silence held at the Camp Nou right before Barcelona's match to honor the memory of Jorge. A moment of silence, let us join in. Our deepest thoughts go to the Messi family. A solemn minute of silence, followed by gentle applause, remembering Jorge Messi today. And joining Barcelona in this emotional farewell was none other than their biggest historical rival, Real Madrid. In a class act that truly honors the sport, the Spanish giants set aside the rivalry to share this official message on social media, expressing their absolute respect and solidarity with the entire Messi family during this painful moment. Let us look at this incredibly raw reflection from Carlos Tevez, which makes us wonder if this devastating blow could ultimately reshape Messi's entire career, just as a similar tragedy did to him. Because losing a father is not just about saying goodbye to someone who was a vital presence in your life, it is about letting go of the first and most loyal fan you ever had. Carlitos, you lost Segundo a while ago, your father about a year ago, is that right? To your father, Segundo, who never once stopped working, right? Even with you being the famous Tevez, a massive global superstar. My old man was always working. One year I told him, I think I was in Brazil, to quit already. He almost died, he did not want to quit. No, he quit for 6 months and almost died until we sat down to talk and he told me, son, I have worked my entire life. I wake up here at home, everything is nice, but I just do not know what to do. That is just how I was raised, understand? Do not be mad, he said. And Carlitos, do you miss him? Yes, I really do, yes. I woke up one day and told Vane that I was not playing anymore. People always ask me, why did you stop playing? You were doing so well, you are lean, strong. And I told them, look, I stopped playing football because I lost my absolute number one fan. I was only 8 and he was the one who came to see me, so I said, I am not playing for anyone anymore. I had lost my number one fan and that completely stripped away my desire to play the game. The echo of this tragic news swept through television studios across the entire continent. Even the most critical and merciless voices are breaking down under this deep grief. That is how, in a totally unexpected moment, Alvaro Morales cast aside his usual controversy to Messi's sincerest condolences. Today, first and foremost, we send our deepest, most sincere condolences to Messi, heartfelt condolences. First to Jorge Messi, may he rest in peace and be in heaven. First to Messi today. Listen, we send him a massive hug because there is no pain as deep as losing a father. Today we send Messi a warm embrace. This immense grief broke through the screen, deeply moving so many broadcasters. Let us listen to this Spanish journalist, his voice completely cracking with raw emotion as he says goodbye to Jorge. Well, we all knew the absolute gravity of the situation, and we knew deep down that Jorge's condition was, in some way, completely irreversible, right? So yes, his condition got drastically worse over these last few days. We have watched this tragic outcome unfold over the last few hours, though deep down, we always knew this heartbreaking day would eventually come. Our love goes out to Leo today. On a day like this, rivalries do not matter. There is no Madrid, nor Barcelona, nor Spain, nor even Argentina. Lionel Messi as a man clearly transcends any sporting rivalry or division, especially on a day like today. Because of that, over the past few hours, Major sports organizations from around the world have begun sharing their support, public, along with public figures, who are all expressing their deep condolences to Leo and his entire family. But I must say, it felt like the mainstream media over in Spain took an unusually long time to react to this massive news. But the very core DNA of the Messi family has always been defined by his father Jorge, a man who taught them to always carry themselves with absolute humility wherever they went, to stay true to their humble, working-class neighborhood roots, keeping the exact same simple customs they had lived by their entire lives, while he quietly managed the career of his legendary son, ultimately becoming the mastermind who helped write Lionel Messi into the history books of humanity by signing those very first critical contracts. Inter Miami also paid a highly emotional tribute to Jorge, showing their profound respect for his legacy. Thank you very much, Miami. Thank you. Let us listen to how Chilean journalists covered this tragic news. What happened with Lionel Messi's father? Mari, how are you doing? Good morning. Yes? How are you, Lucho? It is a very sad and heavy update. Of course, for the family and for Lionel Messi himself, after word began to spread in the early hours that his beloved father, Jorge Messi, had indeed passed away in the middle of the night. He passed away at the age of 68 on Friday night, though the public only found out during the early hours of this morning. He drew his last breath at a private medical clinic in Rosario, where he had been hospitalized due to serious, ongoing health issues. According to the news outlet Infobay, his passing occurred at 10 p.m. on Friday, and this heartbreaking update was quickly shared by other prominent international sports publications like the famous outlets L'Equipe and Marca. It is key to remember that this heavy news, regarding the sudden death of Jorge Messi, comes barely a month and a half after the family of the Flea, which is the famous nickname of Lionel Messi himself, released an official statement confirming that the businessman, who also managed the player, was currently under close medical supervision and slowly recovering from a very serious and unexpected health complication. The tragic news is also shaking Brazil. Mr. Jorge Messi, the father of Lionel Messi, passed away early this morning in a hospital located in Rosario, Argentina. Meanwhile, the Mexican sports press was also reacting. Just look at this, said. It is an incredibly difficult day for Argentina because Lionel Messi's father has just passed away. Think about it. Lionel Messi just reached over 920 career goals, scoring just 2 days ago against Atletico San Luis of Mexico, and now this heartbreaking news hits that his father and career mentor has passed away. In just a short moment, we will share his full story. Truly devastating. We also heard these deeply emotional words from a Colombian sports news host, reporting that Jorge Horacio Messi passed away at 10 p.m. local time on Friday, August 7th, inside a hospital in Rosario, which is the beloved hometown of the Messi family, at the age of 68. The father and longtime agent of Lionel had been struggling with a very fragile and rapidly declining medical condition for several days. You simply cannot understand Leo's historic career without recognizing the immense sacrifices his father made, especially during those tough early years. Everyone here at Blue Radio sends their deepest, most heartfelt condolences to Leo Messi and his grieving family. Now, let us listen as a French reporter connects this painful loss to Messi's highly emotional breakdown during the last World Cup. The father of Lionel Messi, Jorge, has passed away at the age of 68. Lionel Messi is now going through one of the most painful moments of his life. His father, Jorge Messi, died in Argentina following a very long battle with severe illness, and his passing now sheds a deeply emotional light on a heartbreaking scene we witnessed just a few weeks earlier during the 2026 World Cup. After scoring a sensational hat trick for Argentina during their match against Algeria, Messi was completely overwhelmed with emotion and openly broke down in tears on the pitch. Back then, he explained to reporters that his overwhelming emotions were tied to private, deeply personal struggles that had absolutely nothing to do with the sport itself. Just a few days later, his family went on to confirm that Jorge Messi was indeed dealing with some very difficult health issues. Today, following the devastating news of his death, those images of a weeping Messi carry a far more heartbreaking meaning for fans worldwide. Jorge Messi was not just his loving father, he also played a massive role in shaping his career, serving as his agent since he was a teenager, and guiding his very first steps all the way to the top of world football. Behind him, Behind the greatest soccer player of this entire generations stood a devoted father who had guided him since his very first steps. Right now, Lionel Messi must deal with this devastating personal tragedy far from the pitch, and our deepest thoughts go out to him and his family during this incredibly difficult time. See the absolute shock on Speed's face live on stream when he heard the news. Oh, so he actually did die. Really, yes. He died today? Yeah, really? He just died in Argentina, so sad. Listen to the raw emotion from the Newell's community in Rosario during this tragic time of mourning. This is an immense, heavy pain. He was the father of our ultimate idol, and this brings back vivid memories of the World Cup that ended just a short while ago. We can only imagine what Lionel was going through during all this difficult time. We stand right by him and his family. We are so sorry for this loss. It is a massive, terrible blow, a really awful thing to go through. It is a deeply painful situation for everyone, and we are treating it with the utmost respect. Today, the city of Rosario is in deep mourning. Look right behind us. The local bar is closed. Sadness has completely taken over everyone here, because he is a massive part of our culture. He was also someone we all deeply love. For Messi's career, Jorge was far more than a manager. He was his absolute best friend. Lionel himself admitted this in countless interviews back in Barcelona and in Argentina. With the national team, during the recent World Cup, Lionel mentioned the quiet struggles he was dealing with behind the scenes. We all knew what he was capable of achieving, and honestly, having his father there was everything to him. Ever. I truly believe that even beyond being a legendary soccer player, you are just an incredible, kind human being. I am not just saying this because I am your father, but because almost everyone who actually knows you knows it is the absolute truth. Let us leave you with this deeply moving tribute from social media. Today is an incredibly devastating day for the entire soccer world. Today marks one of the darkest moments in soccer history, but it is not because a legendary player has passed away. It is not because a legendary star or some high-ranking soccer official has passed away, but because the man who raised and shaped the single greatest soccer player of all time, the creator of the GOAT himself, has passed away. Lionel Messi's father, Jorge Messi, passed away today at 68 years old, making this one of the absolute most heartbreaking days in sports. Today is certainly not the time to debate who is the greatest player to ever live. Even if you do not believe Messi is the GOAT, please set that aside for now and join us in honoring this incredible man. Show him that respect because he was far more than just a normal father. To Lionel Messi, he was a guiding light, acting as his agent, his manager, and his absolute rock through everything. Honestly, this man truly was the absolute definition of what a father should be, standing right by Lionel Messi's side through every single chapter of his remarkable life. He was never just a bystander in his son's life. No, let me tell you something about him. When Lionel was only 12 years old, his father sat him down. They had just moved to Spain so the boy could play at La Masia. He asked his son directly, "Do you want to head back to Rosario where you were born, to go home and be with your mother and the rest of the family?" Lionel insisted that he wanted to stay at La Masia, which meant his father had to make the sacrifice and live apart from his wife. His mother stayed behind in Rosario with the other children, while Lionel and his father navigated Spain alone. Without Jorge's incredible sacrifice, the legendary Messi we know today simply would not exist. We wouldn't even know the name Lionel Messi. Because of his father's dedication, millions and billions of fans have been given the absolute joy and privilege of watching the magic of the man we all call Lionel Messi. And it didn't stop there. Every contract, every major career move, and every crucial decision was carefully guided by Lionel Messi's devoted father. It is heavy. Honestly, we should all feel a little guilty for how we judged things during the World Cup. Just think back to that very first game. The moment Lionel scored, he broke down and cried profusely on the pitch. He wept so heavily after the game that we all asked, "What is wrong with Messi?" Many of us did not truly understand what was going on. We already knew how deeply the loss of his grandmother affected him, since he dedicated his entire World Cup journey to her memory. Imagine now losing the father who stood by him through every single battle in life. When he won his first international trophy, the Copa America, he immediately video called his father from the pitch. The moment that World Cup ended, he did not just run off to celebrate with everyone. Instead, he headed straight back home to Argentina, seeking out the comfort of his family. Rather than soaking up the public glory, he quietly retreated to be by his father's side during those difficult final moments. We so easily forget that these famous footballers are also just human beings. We completely forget they have private struggles and that grief breaks them just like it breaks us, or maybe even worse. Just try to imagine being that famous, constantly surrounded by waves of fake plastic adoration. But deep down, you know that perhaps only 5 real people truly love the real you, and your parents are the absolute core of that tiny group. And now, one of them is gone forever. He was not even that old, just 68 years of age, meaning this aggressive sickness must have been incredibly brutal to take him. And think about Messi. With all his massive wealth, he could easily afford any medical treatment in the world, yet his father still passed away. It is a harsh reminder that money truly cannot buy life. Family is what actually matters. Without the extreme sacrifices of this dedicated father, the legendary Lionel Messi we know today simply would not exist. Leo has not just lost a loving father, he has lost his representative, his lifelong football mentor, and above all, his very best friend. He has lost a true brother in arms, a constant companion, and his ultimate guide through this chaotic life. I truly hope Messi can find the inner strength to keep playing, because we have seen personal tragedies completely shatter players to the point where they never truly recover. Now, the 8th of August will forever remain an incredibly dark date for him. It is the exact anniversary of the day he had to leave Barcelona, his childhood dream and the love of his life. And now he has lost his father. There is some small comfort in seeing millions of football fans around the world pause to pray for this legendary father. I am absolutely certain that hundreds of millions more, maybe even billions, will keep sending their prayers to Leo. And I pray that the Lord looks upon your soul with grace. We only knew you through the lens of Messi, and we never truly knew your private life, but I pray that God forgives any human flaws with deep compassion, looking down with an eye of mercy, and grants you that ultimate spiritual peace, the divine grace and eternal mercy required to finally enter into his holy kingdom and find a place in heaven. I have offered my own humble prayers for you because wishing for a soul to rest in peace is a deeply powerful request. So please, if you have a spare moment, just say a prayer for this man. There is really nothing more you can do for those who have passed. We can cry, we can grieve, we can let our emotions out, and that is completely natural. But what truly matters is our collective prayers, asking the Lord to look upon their souls with mercy and grant them immediate entrance into eternal paradise. Honestly, if this man has already entered that beautiful peace, none of your weeping would make him want to turn. If you begged him to come back, he would absolutely refuse. He is resting in eternal peace with the Lord now, and that is my deepest prayer for each and every one of you, after all. The long exile, the heavy burdens, and all the exhausting weariness of this painful earthly life. May you be granted that glorious heavenly vision and the grace to be with God. To Leo, I pray your father's soul rests in eternal peace. Grant him eternal rest, O Lord, and let your perpetual, guiding light shine upon him forever and ever. May his soul rest in perfect absolute peace. Amen. I ask everyone listening to please say a prayer. It is the absolute best thing you can do for the Messi family. I truly pray that Lionel finds his strength. He needs that strength because back during the World Cup, Messi was playing on a level that seemed almost superhuman. I remember telling my close friends that Messi looked like he was fighting a hidden battle, and that he was performing far beyond any normal human limits. That explains why his intense emotions, whether he was fighting, performing brilliantly, or even struggling out on the pitch, and even when he was crying, it all felt so incredibly sharp and heavy. I never realized back then that he was desperately trying to deliver that World Cup trophy to his father. I mean, despite the immense quiet pain he was dealing with at home, he still went out there to battle for millions of proud Argentines. What an absolutely incredible man. Please, Leo, just be okay. Forget about the football or whatever decisions you make next. We just want you to be okay. May God grant you the grace to get through this unimaginable pain and give your entire family the strength to survive this loss. May the soul of your father rest in perfect eternal peace. Amen.